Astronaut Jeremy Hansen. Let's go now to Jasmine with her next guest.
I'm a massive fan of the Nepalese Gurkha cookery, which has been featured a lot on the channel over these years in its various different forms, talking about its evolution and origin and use, and I've reviewed quite a few as well. But what I want to cover briefly in this video is the fact that these don't have the origin which lots of places on the internet attribute to them. I'll explain more about that in a second. And also a fantastic new option which is available to buy right now. Hi folks, Matt Eaton here, Scholar Gladiatore. So this isn't a sponsored video, but as you know, I acquire various cookeries from different makers and have reviewed them over these years, and this isn't really a full review so much, but really to point out there is a new maker on the block, not new, but maybe new to you, and that's Himalayan Blades, and they made this Royal Gurkha cookery, which is absolutely gorgeous, and we are really blessed. In fact, I'll leave the scabbard aside for a second. We are really blessed that compared to 10 or 20 years ago, there really were only one or two, well, I would say two or three maybe, really good cookery makers in Nepal making good replica cookeries, which were on a par with the antiques. This is an antique 19th century example. And what do I mean by that? Well, quite simply, they were a little bit chunky, a little bit overweight. They didn't have great edge geometry. They didn't have the right taper in the blade and this kind of stuff. And really over time, some of the makers in Nepal have got closer and closer to the originals, such that, to be honest, some of them being made now by companies like Himalayan Blades are as good as the originals. So this is based on an example that would have been available in around the year 1900 or up until the First World War. So it's a type of cookery which was used extensively in the First World War, and I tell you, it is wonderfully light. It has a hollow ground blade. I've done a little bit of cutting with it so far and it's very sharp, but it also seems to have really good edge retention and things like that. Beautiful black horn grip, and it comes with a completely traditional World War I era, possibly between the wars as well, era scale.
Why is it that so much of Netflix content for children promotes a transgender ideology? Almost half of your content for children, I'm talking about minor children now, I'm not talking about teenagers, minor children, promotes a transgender ideology agenda. I was just looking at the data here from your various series. And what concerns me is, just 2 days ago, a jury in New York awarded a former transitioner $2 million because she said that her psychologists and others pressured her into, they pushed on her an ideology that proved to be extremely detrimental. I'm sure you know that in the UK, the National Health Service in the UK has said that they're not going to perform transgender surgeries or any longer so-called gender-affirming care for minors.
Here is a mother and a sister of a male, and they refuse to be silent in the face of injustice. And whether you agree with everything that is, being said here, it gets a little bit sick.
For entertainment purposes only.
It took me 25 years to realize that everything is a lie. I have a degree in biology. I served in the Marine Corps as an officer. I was a programmer. I did everything society wanted me to do. Then I realized one thing. I had completely lost myself. I wasted my entire life. My 7-year-old self didn't want this. I was born wild and then became livestock. Religion is a lie, science is a lie, government is a lie, the banking system is a lie, the education system is a lie, everything is a lie. It took me too long to realize that everything was designed to deceive people, to control people, to manipulate people. But I still see people just obeying without any question. They just follow all these bullshit authorities like slaves. My name is Uri from South Korea, 26 years old. I'm here to fight.
Okay, now we're talking. So South Korea is the same as South Korea seems to be the same as every other country then. It is just a control system. Interesting.
On coming up with new opioids faster than the government has been able to.
Yep, that just happened on live TV. Watch her try to keep it together.
No, I hear fantastic things.
He just fired.
Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Oz. She's doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much.
Zoinks!
I appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Nose
Mr. President, can you
wipe.
respond to the new Fox poll that says people think ICE is attacked?
And now they evacuate the room.
Do I get to see the moon outside the windows? You know, I left these windows open so you can see the solar rays. I'll tell you what I'll do. They may get mad at me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Earth, and you can see the solar arrays. Yeah, I don't see the moon now. The moon is up. It's just not out this side of the space station where you can see it. You can see the sun, though, shining there bright. So let me tell you this. You see how puffy my face is? That is because the fluid shifts in your body. There's no gravity to pull the fluid from your head. Body including makes it a little puffy in the face. So maybe.
You look like you've just had too much sun like me, mate. That's all it is, because I'm all puffy too.
Fix the camera a little better. Sorry we didn't see the moon, but we saw a little bit.
In this timeline, people remember details about the stoplight that doesn't exist. Red has always been on the top, but here's proof of the old timeline that collided with this one.
Anybody remember the green light being at the top and the red light being at the bottom? Because I've never seen that in my life. But, you know, there's countries that I've not been to. And they change everything by design. Everything is to just mess you up. Like, do you know what? Even down to crisps, like barbecue crisps in one country would be bacon crisps, flavored crisps in another country. Like, they do stuff to just, like, confuse you. And the left-hand side driving, the right-hand side driving somewhere else. It's to confuse everybody. Like that, they probably did this as well, like change the lights just to try and mess with you. It's yeah, or it could be another timeline, you know, another reality. But yeah, let me know if you know.
When you knocked upon my door, early this morning.
In my timeline, green was always on the top.
When you knocked upon my door, and I say, hello, Satan.
Anybody in the UK that remembers the greens being at the top, please let me know.
I believe it is time to go. Me and the devil.
NASA just emergency evacuated an astronaut because he suddenly lost the ability to speak in space. So astronaut Mike Fink was just eating dinner on the ISS on January the 7th, and they said it was a completely normal night. Out of nowhere, though, he just completely lost the ability to talk without any warning, no pain, nothing at all. He described the entire thing like it hit him like a lightning bolt. So that's insane. His 6 crewmates immediately saw that something was wrong and they called flight surgeons on the ground. They were able to use the station's onboard ultrasound machine to try to figure out what happened, but here's the thing, they still couldn't figure it out. Doctors have ruled out a heart attack, he wasn't choking, but everything else is still on the table. The episode itself lasted about 20 minutes and then it just stopped. He felt completely fine after, so they don't know what was wrong. NASA pulled the plug on the entire mission, brought all 4 crew members back to Earth on January 15th, which is more than a month ahead of schedule.
I've come to the decision that it's in the best interest of our astronauts to return Crew 11 ahead of their planned departure.
They went straight to the hospital. This guy has spent 549 days in space across 4 different missions, and NASA is now going through every single astronaut medical record that they have to see if this has ever happened before. 549 days in space, and his body just decided to glitch. And right now, nobody knows why.
They switched her out too, allegedly? take a look at this clip. This was at a recent Tom Ford event that she attended. And you tell me, does this look or sound like the same person we've seen for years, allegedly? All right, here she is. This is the Tom Ford event. This just looks weird. What's going on with this over the eye? What is this?
The same thing happened with Kim Kardashian. They covered that hair up. Just weird. Are they just doing it for...
This just doesn't look right. This just doesn't look like her. Even the way she's talking, even like her mouth, this doesn't look like her. What is that? Everything just feels off. Now, this could be bad lighting. This just could be a bad angle. But we keep seeing this more and more, that there are these sudden weird transformations. And I'm wondering, is this more than just alleged work being done? What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's crazy. I really do. Look at the dirty fog. Yuck. Yeah, I ain't too sure, but they all look different. And they all have their face really skinny now. And they look like it's a face
This is just your
mask.
reminder that the reason we celebrate April Fool's Day is because when the calendar was moved and changed to celebrate the New Year on January 1st, some people continued to honor the New Year's around the spring equinox, and they were then called fools. So Happy New Year or April Fool's Day. And if you feel compelled to bring in newness or new things or start new traditions, there might be a reason.
What happens next should be comparatively quick. Once they blast off, the astronauts will first aim to climb to a low Earth orbit, an altitude already home to the International Space Station and many satellites. It will take about a minute for the Space Launch System to reach supersonic speed, powered mainly by those two 17-story-high white rocket boosters on either side of the orange core stage. 2 minutes into the flight, they should fall away, their fuel all used up, and splash down in the Atlantic. A minute later, the launch abort system should be ejected. It's there to pull the Orion and the crew to safety if something goes wrong during the launch and early ascent. The core stage's engines should then shut down before it too separates from the spacecraft. That will leave Orion attached to just one external engine, which nearly 2 hours after the launch should propel the crew in a high Earth orbit, setting them up for their mission to the moon.
Yeah, right.
Are you?